You are now listening to the Going North podcast, where you'll receive tips and techniques to advance yourself. I'm your host, Dom Brightman, and every week we're going to be hearing from an author who's going to share their expertise to help you charge forward in life. On a quick side note, be sure to check out Going North the book. It's available in ebook, audio, as well as paperback form for those who love to read a traditional book. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Going North podcast, we have, you guessed it, another author, but not just any author. This is going to be a first on this podcast. We've had TEDx speakers, millionaires, TV personalities, John Maxwell certified coaches, but there's a legendary motivational speaker who has his own certification program. And this guest right here, in addition to being an author, a biker, and a coach, she has the certification under the legendary motivator, easily one of the top 3 speakers in the world, the legendary Les Brown certification. And you're probably wondering, who do you have on this podcast, Dom? I have the wonderful Kim Trosper. How are you today, ma'am?
Oh, I'm doing great, Dom. I'm so glad to be here, and thank you. That was a wonderful introduction.
Oh, yeah, those are usually one of the better things about the podcast. My jokes are like dead last in terms of what people like about the podcast.
Well, any kind of laughter is good, so.
Darn straight. Folks are like, oh, man, he's bringing the corn already. Yeah, the corn.
Oh.
Woo. So, mind telling us a bit about yourself, because I'm sure I missed a lot of things with the introduction.
Oh, sure. Well, as you stated, my name is Kim Trosper, and my tagline is Your Life Will Prosper with Kim Trosper. So, thank you. I am all about helping people and inspiring, especially women. I'm a women's empowerment coach, and the name of my coaching is Sassy Woman Coaching. And for me, a sassy woman means a woman who knows her worth, she knows what she wants in life, and she knows how to use her voice to get it. So that's what I do for women. And I'll keep going.
Go on ahead. Keep going north, baby.
Okay. So, the way I got into the coaching business is I worked in substance abuse for 5 years. And that's a very difficult field to be in. I, met a lot of people who had done a lot of things for drugs, and it was, once they hit drug rehab, it's like they're at an all-time low. So that was kind of a depressing field for me, and me being the giving and loving and helping person that I am, I was coming across these beautiful women who just didn't have any self-esteem. It was just, they were gone. They were beautiful, but they didn't see it. So I said, I have to do something about this. It hurt my heart every day when I went to work and I talked to these beautiful women who didn't see that in themselves. So I decided I was going to start Motivational Mondays. And I put together some activities, and of course, when you first coming in, they're not feeling that. They're like, whatever, I don't want to be here, blah, blah, blah. So as the weeks went on and I started doing the activities that I had for them, I started seeing changes in them. They were actually looking forward to it. They wanted me to do more. So Motivational Mondays came out. I already was doing process groups with them, and I was spending time with them doing other things that was more substance abuse related, but they liked the motivational part. So I started doing these things with them, and when they would leave, they would call me up and contact me, and they would want more. So that's actually how I was developed into coaching. And I only stayed in that field for 5 years because there was only so much you can do in the realms of institution for substance abuse. So now that I'm out on my own, sky's the limit. So I love it. I love seeing the transformation in women, and them recognizing that they are worthy, and, just seeing them just blossom. So that's what I live for every day.
Oh, yeah. Turn little cubs into mighty cougar lionesses. Love it.
Oh, yes. And speaking of that, I have one of my activities that I used to have them do was roar like a lion. And it is so funny because when they first came in, they were like, meow. I said, that's a cat. By the time they were leaving, oh, man, they were like, roar. And so, yeah, so I'm like, feel the roar, baby. So it was just so rewarding to see the growth in people, and I love that.
Oh, yeah, so much growth. That's how you wake people up in the morning, just roar like a lion.
Oh, yeah, that'll get them out of bed, for sure.
Oh, yeah, scare the significant other, like, yeah, just roar like a lion. Like, oh, shoot, what the heck? Oh.
And let's not forget, if you have morning breath, I'm sure that'll have something to do with it, too.
Yeah, that'll put someone back to sleep in more ways than one.
Oh. We shouldn't be having this much fun, should we? I love it.
Oh, yeah, we should.
Okay.
Oh, man, but that is awesome, though, because a lot of women listen to this podcast, and funny enough, I believe about 65% of the guests on this podcast are authors, so welcome to, I don't want to call it the better half, but I want to say the powerful half.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. So with all the magical coaching, what led to you becoming a Les Brown certified coach?
Well, of course, I've been listening to Mr. Les Brown for over 25 years, and one day I heard about his certification, and to be honest, it was just like a no-brainer for me. I immediately, I was like, I hadn't even thought about it. I was like, wow, I'm going to sign up, and I did, and I showed up. I didn't have business cards. I wasn't on Facebook. I was just a live body, waiting to meet Mr. Brown, and that was October 2017, and here we are in July of 2018, and I've been speaking. That was the biggest thing because, I had done, like I said, process groups maybe to like about 30, 35 clients at a time, and now I've been speaking at churches, and I still go back to substance abuse because I want to give back, weight loss centers, just all over. So that's new for me is the speaking. I have expanded my business with the coaching. I'm doing trainings. That's another thing I do. I do leadership trainings. So it just changed my whole life, just getting that certification and branching out. So I do Facebook Lives, and that is something I'm very uncomfortable with, being in front of the camera, but I have been feeling the fear and doing it anyway, which is what I tell my clients to do. Here I am.
Great book title. Great book title right there.
Well, I think my book title was better.
Ain't nothing wrong with confidence.
Listen, it was called You Were Meant to Fly, and the fly stands for First Love Yourself. So, boom, there it is. It's a book about self-worth and putting ourselves first. And it's okay to be selfish. It's funny because when women, and this is what I support women in doing, when women are assertive and speak up for what they want or what they don't want, we're called the B word. It's a couple other names we're called. But when a man does it, he's just being assertive, and it's normal for him. And I don't appreciate that. It could be normal for women, too. So we just have to do it more.
Don't worry, it's happening.
Mm-hmm. So,
it is happening, indeed. So first, love yourself first. Does it involve honey?
It can if you want it to be. Not. Yeah, there's no rules. We make our own rules. So yes.
Didn't see that one coming, did you?
Yeah, I didn't. No, it's a short but powerful book that I give away free, and I've received some wonderful feedback from it, and I'm just really proud of it. And another one of the reasons why I do what I do.
And it's awesome that you're doing that too, and it's awesome that it's a short ebook and it's nice and free, straight to the point, because there's so much obesity of information and content. There's the old saying, content is king. Yes, it is, especially if it's good, but folks are sometimes getting too much of it depending on where you are at a certain point in life, and your mind can just be overwhelmed with that. It's better to just give it to them in the small doses so they can actually take it as opposed to drown and be waterboarded with it.
Of course, of course. I mean, I've actually been asked to do a workbook to go along with it, so it's not in the works right now, but it's come up several times, so that's probably something I'll do in the future.
Sweet. Will there be another book in the future, maybe one for profit?
Maybe, but not at this time. You know, we all have a story, and I do have a story to tell, but I don't know if I'm going to put it in writing anytime soon, so we'll see.
Oh, people want to hear the story. They want to read it. They want to feel it. They want to caress the book.
I know. Maybe one day, but not today, not tomorrow, but one day. So.
Yep. Maybe Wednesday. So what trials did you have to overcome to get to where you currently are?
Well, that's a good question, and I'm just going to say that something that most of us have dealt with at some point in our lives, and that is that inner critic, that negative self-talk, which I call stinking thinking. Stinking thinking had me stuck. It held me hostage in fear for many, 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 many years until I decided that, no, I was tired of listening to that. So that's another thing I do is I support women in getting rid of that inner critic and replacing it with an inner supporter. So for me, my inner critic, I didn't go to college until I was 40 years old. For 22 years, I listened to my stinking thinking tell me that I wasn't smart enough to go past that math. It was like, are you serious? Do you remember what grade you made in high school? You know, so year after year after year, I chose to listen to that until one day I decided, no, I was worth starting to live the life of my dreams. So at the age of 40, I went to school, and it took me, well, I had 3 kids, and, you know, it was difficult, but it took me 7 years to get a 4-year degree, but hey, I did it. So, yes, I'm giving myself a pat on the back, by the way.
Ain't nothing wrong giving yourself a pat on the back. Just
That's
don't put
right.
a Patrick on your back, right?
No, I don't want that, Dom. Okay. So,
just put a little starfish on there.
Okay, you're funny. So yes, so stinking thinking, and then also stinking thinking kept me in several relationships longer than I should have been. I knew that they weren't right for me, but stinking thinking told me that, hey, they weren't bad men, just they weren't the one for me. But I listened to that stinking thinking once again until I said, hey, I'm worth having what I want in a relationship. So these are things that, that stinking thinking like I said, it held me hostage for many years. And basically it just took one day of me making a decision that I was worth it. And that's why I'm so supportive of women realizing that they don't have to settle for things. The top 3 pain points that I work with women is, one is stinking thinking, but the stinking thinking is telling them that they're overweight, that, it could be that they're ugly, or just, negative things. We need to stop listening to that because it just doesn't mean it is true, because that's what our inner negative self-talk is saying. And then the other one is, if they are single, for some reason they're afraid that they're going to be single the rest of their lives. So I've always say, are you with Mr. Right or Mr. Right now? And unfortunately, a lot of, I've been there, done that. Oh, life is not that bad. It's like, oh, well, he's not exactly what I want, but he's breathing, so...
You'll say he's breathing the whole day. That's bad. That's bad.
Yes, it's that way sometimes. It's like, he's a live body. I'll take him. Okay. So, with my Sassy Woman coaching, we get out of that, and we know, I've been single for 3.5 years, and I'm going to say happily single. And it's by choice, because my man is out there. When, and when I'm ready for him to show up, he'll show up. But I just don't choose to settle anymore. Life is too short, and I want to, I can have what I want, and I will have what I want.
Beautiful indeed. It's better to have a nice, short, passive relationship and get it over with, as opposed to have one of those long relationships. It's kind of like a poodle to a prairie dog, right?
Ooh. Oh, Dom, okay. You are really funny, real funny.
Yeah, this is my stand-up comedy practice. Half the interview. Don't worry.
Okay. Well, I'm having a good time. Thank you.
Woohoo! A great time indeed. That's really good. As well as you're the first biker on the podcast too. So, what inspires you to be a wonderful biker girl?
Wow. After years of being on the back of someone else's all the time, I said, hey, it's time for Mama to get her own and ride. And that's exactly what I did. I have 2 motorcycles, actually. I have a sport bike, and then I have a cruiser. So depending on what day of the week it is and how I feel, and, that makes the decision of which bike I choose to ride. I love being a biker. It's just that's another empowering thing for me. And to be honest, you out there riding, you don't have to be, but you should be in the moment, and it helps me stay in the present because there's dangers all around, and I have to, my mind can't be thinking about something that happened in the past or whatever. I have to be, on point, paying attention, and it's just, that's how I live my life on or off of the bike, so it works.
That's right. Live the life on the bike and then off the bike, baby. That's right.
Yes.
So that going to be possibly maybe a random motivational video, like maybe life on the bike?
I do have a video. I haven't released it yet. It's a video that speaks about a lot of times we beat ourselves up for things that we've done or that we're ashamed of that we do. And my message from the video is whatever you are doing for whatever reason is, just own it. Just own it. You don't have to be shameful about it. You don't have to be embarrassed. Just own it. And I give an example of my red bike is a cruiser. I never wear a helmet on that bike, and I go about 100 miles an hour. The blue bike is a sport bike. It goes 160 miles an hour, which I don't do 160 miles an hour, but I always wear a helmet in my gear with that bike. And they both pose the same dangers, but for some reason I think the blue bike is, obviously it goes faster, but I'm not going to go that fast on it. So I made the little video. It's about 3 or 4 minutes, and it just says that I don't know why I wear a helmet with one and not the other, but the bottom line is I own it. So I don't have to understand it. I don't have to be ashamed about it. I just own my decision. So, yes, you have inspired me. I may put that out next week.
There you go, and then maybe one day.
So, yes.
Awesome.
And I mainly, to be honest, I mainly made that for a lot of my clients. Of course, when you have a coach, hopefully if you want to transform your life, you really need to be honest. And I tell you what I find is a lot of people, whether they smoke cigarettes or they do the vaping, they usually don't tell me. Eventually it comes out, but, that shame and that guilt or whatever. And so at that time I made that video because, I'm like, I'm not going to judge you. If you're smoking and if you, just own it. Don't hide it. Don't feel shameful about it. Own it. So that's really why I made that video at that time.
Man, yeah, it's true. Sometimes with the coaching, some folks may, even though they may have signed a contract and they paid you the money, they still may not be 100% comfortable revealing just about everything.
Yeah, and that's okay. And, sometimes we get there, sometimes we don't.
So any advice for those out there who are looking to become a coach?
Yes, if you have it in your heart, because what I do is not work for me. I get up every day and I just feel like I'm living a dream. I don't have a job, but I just say get started. The best advice I received is just get started. You might have to take baby steps. To be honest, I just walked away from my job. When I went to Les Brown, they said that I couldn't go, and I was like, bye, Felicia. So I was all in. When I showed up, I didn't have a job. I had, quit the day before. And so I basically just started. So my best advice is, you don't have to quit your job if you can, if you don't want to. I mean, it was a choice I made in the moment, and I haven't regretted it, but just get started. Follow your heart. I mean, part of my message is get out of your head and listen to your heart. And, that negative self-talk, that thinking will keep us in our head for so long. And then, I just learned that when I listened to my heart, I couldn't go wrong. And I haven't gone wrong every time I listened to my heart. But when I was listening to that thinking, yeah, life wasn't so great sometimes.
Yeah, that's thinking. It's like the combination of like a skunk and like trash has been out for freaking 30 days. It's really toxic.
Yes. And unfortunately, so, we deal with it all the time. Even as of today, I've been, it still comes back up for me, but I've been through it so long, and I'm like, oh no, it comes up and I just let it go. I don't feed into it. I don't choose to believe it. And I do affirmations. So if thinking is telling me, which it told me for many years, that I wasn't smart enough to pass the math, then, I easily replace it with a positive. And, I am intelligent. I am smart enough. Math is easy to me. And that's also something that I have. It's called a little guide of big affirmations. That's also free on my website. So if you are into affirmations to replace that thinking, I have it in there on, we have different topics: finances, health, spirituality, just different topics. And I give about 15 affirmations. So that's something else I have that I offer.
Woohoo! So with putting out your own content, I'm pretty sure there's content from others in the form of books that have inspired you. Mind listing a title or two that have really inspired you to be the KT that you are today?
Well, I would say The Power of Now. That's by Eckhart Tolle. And I have to tell you, for me, if you ever see him in an interview, for me, he put me to sleep. But his book, The Power of Now, it really just changed the way I looked at life. Because when you live in the moment, which I really try to do a lot, all is well right now. I'm not thinking about the past. The past is over. I'm not thinking about tomorrow. I might not wake up. So for me, The Power of Now, living in the moment, is big. So that book, if you could read it, it'd probably work better than listening to it on audio, because you might fall asleep. Not once, but twice. I'm sorry, but listening to him talk, you'd be like, oh, no. But, yeah, he's a good read.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest complaint he gets.
Yeah. And a classic would be Norman Vincent Peale. I mean, he's right up there for me. The positive power, the positive thoughts, or something like that. That was like 20, 30 years ago for me. But Norman Vincent Peale, when he was alive, just like with Les Brown, it was, they've had a big impact on my life. I was listening to him in my early 20s. That would be it.
Oh, yeah. That's right. The Power of Positive Thinking, instant classic.
Yes.
So you mentioned 20. So if you were to go back 8 years and you were 25 in the current year of 2018, what advice would you give to yourself?
Look at you, Dom. You said 8 years. You're so sweet. Well, my advice would be time is precious. Time is really precious. For me personally, I don't feel like any time is wasted because I choose to learn from it. But I would tell myself to spend it wisely. So that would be the biggest thing for me, would be time. I always tell people it's 86,400 seconds in a day. And how do you spend them? I mean, for me, I suggest that women or anybody really would take just 1,800 seconds for yourself. That's 30 minutes. Because, I meditate, I like to read, I like to do things just to feed my spirit and my soul. So 1,800 seconds out of 86,400, we are worth it. So for me, time is big. Whether it's the seconds or 24 hours in a day, we all have the same amount of time. It's just a matter of what do you do with it. Do you spend it worrying? Do you spend it complaining? Do you spend it sleeping 15 hours out of 24? So it's just a matter of how do you spend that time.
The classic advice that remains true to this day. How do you spend your time? Oh, yeah. That's right. Don't waste no time on some stinking thinking. That's right.
No,
you
but
go out there and get your... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, you have to carve out some time to listen to your show every night, so or when it airs. So people, make sure you do that. You can take out time for that.
Oh, amen to that. Hey, amen to that. You got so much time for the Going North podcast. You better listen to all freaking 75 episodes and count them. That's right. I'm talking about right there. All magical episodes.
That sounds like a plan.
That's right, a big giant plan. After this episode, you're going to be inspired to get yourself a biker jacket, a Harley Davidson, and a Hayabusa and a Kawasaki all at the same time.
Oh, wow.
That's right. Yep, and then one day you get to join Kim on the big stage where you all come in with like Girl Power Conference like 2020, where it's like 2020 vision. All the keynote speakers are coming in motorcycles.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Sassy women on the rolling on the motorcycles. Yes.
Yeah. Was that Tina Turner wrote the song something about rolling or something?
Something. She said rolling. Rolling. Yeah. I'm hearing it, but I'm not feeling the words. Yeah.
I'll Google it later. Well, anyways, speaking of Google, for those who want to get in contact with you and keep up with what you're doing, with all the sassiness on the sensational side of the game, how do we keep in contact with the wonderful Kim?
Well, I'll make this easy. If you want to get your freebies, you go to KimTrosper.com. That's my name, KimTrosper.com. There's a freebies tab, and you can get the book there, the affirmations guide. I do a daily, it's called Prosper Empowerment Tip of the Day. It's usually less than 2 minutes, and I give tips about all areas of your life to add value. So my podcast link is there. I'm on Alexa, so if you have Alexa, you go to Prosper Empowerment Tip under Flash Briefings, and you can hear me every day. If you would like to work with me and become a sassy woman that you were meant to be, you can go to sassywomancoaching.com. And also there I do a free webinar. It's a training on letting go of toxic relationships. So you can get something free no matter where you are with me. Hey.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Some of the best things in life are free, but some of the better things in life are the ones that you invest in.
Yes, and you can make an investment at sassywomancoaching.com with me. 12 weeks. I got you.
That's right. 12 weeks, 3 months. That's enough for 3 fingers. It'll change your life. It'll change your life. You'll have random quarters in your pocket afterwards. It'll be great. It'll literally change your life.
Oh, wow. This has been a very, very good belly laugh session. Yeah.
That's right. All sorts of carnival barker action.
And okay. Laughter is a good thing. Laughter is a good thing.
Thanks a bunch for your listening ears on the Going North podcast. I hope you really, really enjoyed that episode. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to share it with your friends and family, especially those who love podcasts and love listening to some inspiration and motivation. And keep a lookout for the sequel to Going North, Tips and Techniques to Advance Yourself in October 2018.